So if you're a successful 7 or 8 figure business owner and you've got to a level of comfort where there's not a real lot of emphasis around continuing to grow and scale your business or pushing any harder, well, this video is for you. I want to take an opportunity to run you through our lifestyle business scale plan framework, a system that we've used to help our clients accumulate over $3 billion in combined wealth and scale hugely successful 7, 8, and even 9 figure businesses. Now, the idea of being able to build a profitable lifestyle business comes down to the idea that we should, as business owners, be able to have our cake and eat it too. We should be able to create a wildly profitable and successful business that has real, true intrinsic value that allows us to hopefully have a liquidity event at some point in the future. But for most of us, we don't have any real express intention to want to sell our business in the near to short term. Further to that, we want to be able to systematically take that business profit and turn it into personal wealth so we can have passive income outside of our business that gives us freedom and flexibility to choose what we do with our time. This reinforces the fact that because we don't have kind of an impending liquidity event that we're chasing, this gives us peace of mind and certainty about being able to maintain an amazing lifestyle. And ultimately, this is going to fuel our ability to create that lifestyle, to be able to do what we want, when we want, with whom we want, if we even want to do it at all. And you might be thinking, well, Jackson, why should I listen to you? And I'll give you a little bit of background, guys. So I've been working in the wealth and business strategy space for over 16 years now, and over that time, I've successfully published 4 international best-selling books, which started with my first book, Enjoy the Journey, Creating Wealth and Living the Life That You Desire, which is basically my manifesto, the foundations of personal wealth creation that are ultimately there to help our clients implement a really simple system to achieve their personal financial goals outside of their business. I then went on to write Secrets to Scaling a 7-Figure Lifestyle Business, which basically followed my journey as I traveled around Australia in a troop carrier with my girlfriend Anna and our 2 dogs, which turned into 3 dogs, story for another time, and basically run my multi-7-figure business from the road. Not only did I run that business from the road, I successfully phased myself out of the day-to-day operations and were able to achieve exponential growth throughout that time period whilst ticking stuff off the bucket list that many people wait until they're old and grey to do. I then started documenting my philosophy around the family vault, how to create generational wealth and keep it. Because I know that for so many of us as first-generation wealthy individuals, we're never going to be able to recreate that hunger that we have experienced as we've come up, right? We've typically observed our family, our friends, maybe even we've gone through our own financial hardships, and we've utilized that as rocket fuel in order to create this amazing abundance. But we then also acknowledge that we don't want to create entitled brats in our future generations, and we want to try and synthetically create those same values that we use to build our wealth. That frugality and basically having respect for the opportunities that we've got. And I basically documented that in a financial operating system that will allow you to successfully transfer not just your wealth, but also your operating system to future generations so they can become stewards for your wealth. And my latest book, which was co-authored with my business partner, Rakesh Nan, is called 7-Figure Profits, Strategies to Keep, Grow, and Scale Your Cash Flow as a Business Owner, which basically documents our financial operating system in the business of how do you maximize your profit without more leads, without more clients, and being able to take that profit and turn it into personal wealth. And how do we actually do that from an end-to-end perspective? Now, over that time, I've developed a process that is called the Lifestyle Business Scale Plan Framework. And essentially, we've implemented this because we ultimately wanted to help our clients learn the language of money, both personally and in their business, and get into their financial driver's seat. Now, for some of you who've been following me for a while, you're familiar with these models. I'm not going to harp on too much about it in this video, but on the left-hand side, we've got the Wealth Mastery Machine, which is our personal financial operating system. And the objective is that we want to create financial freedom, right? We all want financial freedom. And there are 3 reasons why people don't get there. They don't have a plan, they don't have the cash, or they don't have the consistency. And if you're a wealthy individual who's already doing 7 or 8 figures, then this isn't going to be an issue for you. But we also want to make sure we audit the structure. And that all comes down to having the right definition of what financial freedom really means, creating and making sure that money works for you on autopilot, and that we effectively have a system to manage that money objectively so it can continue to build and grow, because your wealth should become your number 1 employee. It should work for you tirelessly, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 with no sick leave, with no annual leave. Now, on the right-hand side, we have the Lifestyle Business Scale Plan. And our philosophy is that we want you to create a business that allows you to achieve the F4. You should be able to produce at least $400,000 a year in profit. You should be able to work 4 days a week and 44 weeks per year, and you should be able to fast track your way to $4 million in net wealth outside of your business's value. And this isn't just because we've got a love affair with the number 4. We've found that working with thousands of clients, these are the kind of benchmarks for the vast majority of people of creating a successful lifestyle business. And we often find that there's a trade-off, right? We often make more profit at the expense of time, and then we build that business at the expense of personal wealth, or we end up pulling money out of the business at the detriment of the business's value. We want to make sure that we have this triple bottom line philosophy. And that requires us to focus on profit, to focus on free time, and then focus on freedom, not wealth, because wealth is taken care of on the left-hand side. We want to optimize and create a business for freedom, and that is going to allow us to then create more wealth and ensure that we do so in a way that is going to ensure that we reinforce freedom as a primary measure of success. Now, how do we actually go about this? Now, for the vast majority of our clients, we operate with them on these 5 levels. Typically starting from about $200,000 a year all the way up to about $10 million a year. And typically what we find is that if we get to the end, usually we start back at 1, and level 1 will become 20 million, and then we basically go all the way through to a $100 million business. Because ultimately we end up having to come back and redefine all of these things and essentially rebuild the system because we've essentially outgrown it, okay? Now what we've got to realize, guys, is that we have primary measures of success through all of these stages, and we want to make sure that we're not focusing on vanity metrics. Now, revenue is important, right? Revenue will largely dictate the types of problems that you are experiencing in your business and the bottlenecks that need to be solved. But more importantly, we need to identify what is your profit margin after you have taken a market wage out of the business, okay? And typically for most businesses, that's between 0%, potentially loss making, that's not a sustainable business, all the way up to about 40% EBITDA in that business. Obviously, we work with SaaS businesses, those that have really, really high margin, so ideally we want to work between those kind of parameters. Next, we want to measure time, and we calculate this by hours per year. So we work out the average amount of hours you work per week, multiplied by the number of weeks that you work per year. And this becomes your hourly budget for the year. And this is basically a diminishing clock because our time is the only asset that we have that is constantly depreciating, and we are never getting it back. So we need to get really, really fiercely defensive about how much time we're prepared to invest into our business and how do we start buying back that time. Next, we've got our wealth. Outside of your business, outside of your home, what is your net wealth position? We want to work out how much you've got in super, your net property portfolio, any shares that you've got, any other private investments that you've got. And then we want to start looking at passive income. So when we look at all of your sources outside of your business, how much passive income do you produce per year? And as a result of answering these questions, we will ultimately come up with the problem that you'll need to solve and the purpose that we're trying to achieve at that particular stage of the game. So for most people at level 1, who have a $200,000 per year business, that are working a lot of hours, don't have a lot of wealth, basically everything's in the business, they're proving that they have a viable business. And the purpose is damage control. They need to get out of damage control so that they can get to level 2, that comfort level, at about 500 grand a year. Then we go through that, we've got a little bit of margin, maybe we started to buy back a bit of time, we're hopefully building a little bit more wealth, and we're getting to a point here where we're trading time for money. There's lots of successful businesses at this $500,000 range, but they're usually kind of solo operator, or the founder is the one that's driving the vast majority of the results because they're trading their time for money. And the key here is we want to build a foundation because that's not really a business, right? That's a job. Then level 3 is up to $1 million. And at this point, hopefully we've got some more margin, we've bought back some more time. Hopefully we're taking that business profit and we're turning that into personal wealth. And the idea here is we need to start trading money for time. We buy back our time because we need to create more leverage. We need to optimize how we choose to spend our time in our business. And it's through this optimization that we're going to be able to get through to that $5 million and beyond. Because it's usually at this point where you go from being very much a lifestyle business for you creating a company that has true intrinsic value. Now, sure, there's businesses that can be sold for $1 million and that are at that $1 million range. They can be sold for a decent multiple. But it's really at that 5 million to 10 million plus where we're really starting to get a higher multiple of our business, and we're ultimately getting more leverage and the ability to grow and scale. So at this level 4, up to a $5 million business, hopefully we've been able to squeeze some more margin. And once again, we buy back that time. Our time should be very much focused on growing and scaling the business, working on the business. At this point, we've actually got more wealth and we've started to create more passive income. And this is where we start trading money for money because of the infrastructure that we've got in place, the assets that we've got available, being the human capital, the financial capital that we've got. We can deploy that in order to magnify the impact of our efforts. And this is where we truly choose to scale. And at this $10 million and beyond, we ultimately get to this point where we should be trading money for impact. Because it comes to this point that for the vast majority of my clients who I work with at this stage, they've got comfort. They have choice. They ultimately could do whatever they want. They don't need to put their foot down any further unless there is a significant cause or reason that becomes the motivating factor that drives them to pursue creating a $50 million business or a $100 million business. There are very few people in this world whereby building a business that's bigger than $10 million is going to make a meaningful change in their life. What, they're going to go from maybe driving a $100,000 car to a $300,000 or $400,000 car. They go from living in a $2 or $3 million house to a $10 million house. Is that going to make a really meaningful difference in the quality of your life? Not really, but what you have the ability to go on and do in terms of your passions at that particular point in time is the biggest driver for the vast majority of business owners at this stage of the game. And the important part here is how do we de-risk this foundation that you've got, basically take money off the table, and then get you to a point where you can now play with house money, right? And this is where we can put the foot down and we can take risks. And because ultimately at this stage of the game, if we don't have the right strategy and structure in place, that little voice in our head that tells us that we could lose everything and we don't want to necessarily fall back these stages, we want to firmly cement ourselves in that position and then essentially choose the incremental game we want to play from there on. And that is essentially the system that we implement. So when we work with our clients, there's basically 45 strategies that we implement. And essentially we work through the profit strategies, the time strategies, and the freedom strategies. And we systematically work through implementing each stage or each level's 9 strategies, which should firmly cement ourselves in the next stage, should help us create the operational infrastructure, the systems, the frameworks in place that provide you with peace of mind and certainty, that shift from being manual, knee-jerk, and potentially emotional into being systematic, automated, and pragmatic, and allowing you to then implement team and essentially automation and structure that allows you to ensure that you don't have to micromanage all of these aspects of your business and your finances so you can spend more time doing the things that you enjoy. So this is a very quick crash course. If you're at that stage where you're a multi-7-figure business owner, an 8-figure business owner, and you know that there's more out there, but you're pretty comfortable in your spot, you need to make a decision. Decision number 1 is that you're going to go into essentially, you're going to go into steward mode. You are going to nurture and maintain and groundskeep what you've already built and keep things kind of on even keel and not necessarily put in a huge amount of effort. You're optimizing for lifestyle, you're taking the foot off the accelerator, and you're focusing on things that are more important, whether that be lifestyle, family, hobbies, interests, that kind of thing. But if you feel like there's still more in there and you want to take that to the next phase, but you want to make sure you do so while maintaining your peace of mind and certainty, making sure that you've got the right financial game plan that's going to allow you to reinforce that foundation, because we need a very different foundation when we're building a house compared to if we're going to build a skyscraper. And we've successfully done this with a number of our clients, one of which we took from 10 million to 30 million over the course of 18 months. Another over the course of 3 years, we took from about a $15 million business to having a $100 million exit. And we're now in the starting phases of going again and rinsing and repeating after a long period of time of enjoying downtime after that exit. So if you want to take it to the next level, what we bring to the table is essentially how do we make sure that we've got the right strategy mapped out? How do we ensure that we've got the right financial structure so we can give you peace of mind and certainty to protect what you've already got? And how do we create the right scale plan that's going to allow you to get that business to the next level and navigate the volatility and the challenges that we need to along the way. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out. If you want to find out more info, all of the details should be in the description below. I advocate reaching out. Let's have a conversation. Check out some of my books. You can grab those for free at wealthhealthcheck.com.au by clicking the link below. And let's have a conversation and see how we can get you to the next stage and beyond. Wish you all the best.